Charging up an attack on the pig's vulnerable hindquarters will see the player character's arm transform into a beastly, clawed appendage that is thrust entirely inside the pig's tender tunnels. Seriously, they go right up it. Right up it.
While Seaman does possess the face of an adult human, he lacks several other components traditionally associated with a human, such as left hand, right hand, and belly button. But what of butts? We know Seaman is pooping, this much is clear. The tank he resides in becomes clouded, and he will hurl feces at you upon your command. But does one need a butt to create poop? I would suggest not. I've created this lateral bisection of Seaman, with my best guesses as to his intestinal inner workings.
Have you ever clocked how Tetris blocks look quite like bottoms with the edges chopped? This is an odd hot take to share, look, I'm well aware, but bear with, I'll break down these quad derrieres. You've got the square one, compact and stocky. You would call it rotund, if it wasn't that blocky.
At first glance, it's a reasonable conclusion that Kushnud butt is the product of an unfortunate translation, that his name is originally Batsu or the like. But in fact, in the Japanese release of Garo, Mark of the Wolves, his name was Marco Rodriguez. This means someone translating the game for English speakers looked upon him and said, no, wait, this man is clearly named Butt. Like Marco Butt or Pablo Butt? I'm sure someone else asked in this scenario, which I just made up, yet also surely happened. No, a Kushnud butt, of course.
The moon, the focus of this review, occurs when he has climbed to the top of a ladder. He bends over, showing his arse to the camera and effectively mooning everyone watching. Additionally, one of the features of Ghosts and Goblins is that Arthur's armour flies off when he's hit by an enemy, leaving him running around in his underpants. When put all together, this means you can get a man in his pants to moon people on command, which to 10-year-old boys is the funniest thing in the entire world.
If we apply the science found in the 2018 researched paper Analysis and Qualitative Effects of Large Breasts on Aerodynamic Performance and Awake of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid character, which discusses the aerodynamic qualities of anime titties, we find that a flatter character model will incur a 4% maximum drag increase versus a more shapely body model with an average of approximately 2% spanning velocities from 1 to 30 meters S1. More drag means less efficiency overall. It would be harder for Snake to jump, and he would expel more energy when doing so, which is counterproductive in a video game series that uses platforming and aerial navigation as a pillar of its gameplay.
What's in a butt? Okay, that could be phrased better, but really, what makes a butt a butt? Does it require squishiness, or a crack down the middle, or even flesh? No, it actually does not. Why? Because old Papyrus shouldn't be denied the right to a butt. But there is a deeper reason for my argument. He deserves a butt. Let's talk about Papyrus's anatomy. He's a living skeleton with an oddly geometric skull. It's hard to tell which parts of him are him and which parts are his battle body, a partial exoskeleton originally created for a costume party. His chest is protected by a white structure of plate armor which is completed by a flamboyant red cape. However, his lumbar spine is completely exposed, as are his upper femurs, and then we come to the butt zone.
If I'm being honest, I'm not sure I liked Raiden when I first saw him, until I saw his bare ass. Now don't get me wrong, I wasn't one of those people who freaked out after the tanker in Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. You're reading a book about video game butts, so I assume you know that this is when the game switches after an hour or two from the series protagonist, Solid Snake, to Raiden, a brand new character we had no idea we'd be playing for the rest of the experience. But I just didn't get our platinum-haired runner-up for most of my first playthrough. I mean, we were dropped into this new character and then given an experience that seemed so close to Metal Gear Solid, but just fell short. They called me the same call sign, I took orders from the same guy, and I was taking down another group of weirdos as usual. I remember begging to see Snake again, and when I finally did, I was so confused as to why I was playing this whiny child and not the badass soldier I'd spent so many hours getting to know on my original PlayStation. Then, Raiden got naked.
This is a crucial scene for several reasons. Firstly, it is the only real glimpse we get into Conker's life outside of the titular bad fur day that sends him on a madcap adventure full of movie spoofs and singing piles of poop. The scene is also important because we get a really good look at Berry's butt. Berry's butt is the featured character of the scene. Yes, Conker is speaking over the footage as he drunkenly tries to explain via phone message why he won't be coming home till much later, but Berry's backside is the focus of both the player and the game itself. This not only means that we spend a good minute of the intro getting to gawk at her booty in all its blocky textured glory, but also that this game might as well be structured entirely around her furry round butt.
It's all very well and good to jokingly compliment Solid Snake's behind, but have you ever stopped to think about the cultural significance of the Metal Gear protagonist's tactical espionage ass cheeks? The original Metal Gear introduced players to Solid Snake, as well as the concept of a stealth game. While there's plenty of action to be had throughout the series, the defining mechanic of the Metal Gear franchise is sneaking. And what are the best ways to sneak? Crouching, crawling, walking on tiptoe? You know, a variety of lower body movements that'll give anyone a nice toned derriere. While the original Metal Gear had pretty rudimentary graphics, the box art suggested that Snake was inspired by a melange of action stars of the silver screen, including Kurt Russell, Mel Gibson, and Michael Biehn. So there was never any doubt in the player's mind that the game's sneaky hero had the taut rump of a real Hollywood hunk.
Crash Bandicoot gets a bad rap. As an icon of 90s gaming, he's often mistakenly attributed a try-hard, too-cool-for-school attitude that's actually a more appropriate assessment of Sonic the Hedgehog. Aside from his iconic megaphone commercials and crotch-chop idle animation, Crash has always been more Looney Tunes than D-Generation X. He's such a lovable, doofy idiot, from his oversized sneakers all the way up to that unkempt, spiky puff of hair. But somewhere in the middle is where fashion meets function. Let's talk about those jorts, baby. For years, we were limited to Mario running from left to right with no real concept of what was going on with that plumber's crack. Then, Crash comes along, spending most of his time running away from the camera, giving us ample opportunity to appreciate video game butts with some perspective.
Whether it be dunking for fish with his tail, or exposing his derriere to taunt someone, Goku was never a character shy to reveal his cheeks. That sort of humor was very much creator Akira Toriyama's jam in the mid-80s. Juvenile? Yeah. Still funny? Also yeah. Goku regularly exposing his cheeks was very much part of the original modus operandi for Dragon Ball, to make people laugh and not take the action too seriously. Goku is the epitome of that message.